Hey guys, welcome to today and welcome to today's video. So before we get started, real talk. I cleaned up, tidied up the background. The rest of my house, still a mess. So I wanted to make a video that talks a bit in depth about marriage or relationships or partnerships, and I wanted to kind of dive in on my perspective, get just honest, real, raw about these topics. And so these are topics that you guys have sent in, kind of like a Q&A style. I'm just going to use that as like a framework. I wanted to keep it, like I said, really real, so I didn't look at them beforehand and I didn't make a plan. I don't have anything to go off of. I'm just going to kind of read them and just try to answer as honestly as I can. So very quick little backstory. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. We just celebrated 7 years on June 10th, 2020. So our wedding date was June 10th, 2013. We have known each other for a very long time. We went to school together, junior high and high school. So we probably, I guess, first met when we were 12, which is funny. There wasn't really a first met moment. We just kind of always knew each other. We were friends, and didn't actually start dating until after high school. Our dating period and our engagement period were very quick. We got married pretty quickly and not everybody was super on board with that we knew at the time, but we felt very confident in our decisions and trusted ourselves. And obviously 7 years later with a family, it has worked out. So we have a 1-year-old daughter, Nova. But the first topic is asking about alone time or date nights and that kind of thing with husband, with significant other after having kids. And since Nova's been born, we have not been on one like actual date night. Just the world's climate and the world's what's going on in the world. And so yeah, we hoped to do one months ago, but it just wasn't possible. So hopefully we will soon. What we do is once she goes to bed, we take that time most of the time as our kind of dating time. We often watch a movie together on the weekends. We'll watch a movie, just get some popcorn, that sort of thing. I wouldn't say that we're very good at making it like super special or going out of our way lately, but we do definitely spend that time together, whatever it might be. Even if we're just sitting on the couch doing our own thing, we're usually together. Right now, with it being summer, Nova's schedule has kind of like shifted a bit later, so she's going to bed a little bit later, which means that our time together has like kind of shrunk. That's something I really recommend, is just like keeping that bedtime to be like early enough that you have a little bit of time after baby or kiddo goes to bed so that you can spend time together. Okay, how to not get bored in your relationship, or specifically through intimacy. Out of respect for Caleb, I'm not gonna like dive too crazy deep into this. And I also wouldn't say that I have a lot to really give in tips for you guys. What I can say is that we have hit rough patches when it comes to intimacy, for sure. As people who have gone through infertility, you guys know, gone through the timing and scheduling sex and putting it on the calendar and having an alarm on your phone saying, okay, this is ovulation day, we better get to it. All of those things really affect a relationship's intimacy, because it's just not about the fun of it. It's not about the connection anymore. It's about this common goal, which is pregnancy, baby, and it really sucks the life out of that part of your relationship. It's something that has been kind of interesting and almost a little opposite of what maybe I originally thought would happen. Is since becoming parents, and even though we don't have a lot of time on our hands and everything, our relationship in that dynamic has actually improved. And I think that just goes to show that we don't have that like cloud over our heads as much of having to time everything and having it be more of a chore or a task or whatever. And now it's geared more towards about connection, and that has been really big for us. There's so many different things that you can kind of try to do to not make it boring, or to liven things up, or to try something new that's so personal to you. So just kind of have those open conversations with each other and kind of get a feel on what that would look like for you, because the most important thing is to be on the same page with your partner and knowing what the other person likes, and what you can do to kind of like make it this enjoyable experience for each other. What do I personally think is the key to having a successful relationship? Now, I'm not coming from someone who thinks that I have like a perfect marriage, not at all. We have plenty of flaws, plenty. But I do think that we are a good team. So I'm not saying that I am equipped to give you advice or to give you tips or anything, but I guess this is just my thoughts on that topic, is that I think communicating, and you'll probably hear this for the rest of your life. You'll probably hear it from everybody. You've probably already heard it so many times, but just communication, it just really helps with almost every single aspect of a relationship, with every problem. If you're open, honest, communicative, and you just lay it out there for each other, and that's just the only way. If you're keeping things from each other, if you're upset but you're holding it in, if you're not wanting to have those conversations because maybe it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's when that trust kind of just starts to dissipate. And so it's just really important to just talk about it. Make a safe space where you kind of preempt, okay, I want to talk about this. When would be a good time to talk about this? Would you rather after baby goes to bed? Would you rather do it after you're finished watching that TV show? This is something that's important to me. I really need you to listen. I really would like it if you put your phone down for this, and would really love your attention on this. Those are things that I find have helped communication for us. Someone's asking, if you had a rough day with Nova, do you find that you also get frustrated with each other? Yeah, for sure. When stress levels heighten, it's so much easier to snap at each other. As much as I try to stay calm in situations, like, it just doesn't always happen, and that is so normal because we are human beings and we have reactions, and we, you know, do things in the moment, or we say things in the moment. Sometimes that's just because the stress levels are high, sometimes because something else is on your mind, and the tiniest little thing that your partner does just irks you, and you just let it all out. And those are things that we all do, and don't let anybody tell you that they don't, because that is not true. So this question, do you feel like infertility at any point changed your relationship negatively? Yeah, I think it did have a tremendous effect on our marriage, for sure. I think that you go into a relationship or a partnership and you don't expect to be faced with such a massive hurdle right in the beginning of your relationship. And so we were growing as people and we were growing as a couple, but we were growing with this like heavy dark cloud above our heads the whole time. And it was hard to not let that be all that we were, and to not let that be our whole marriage, because it almost was in a way. I know that it could be hard not to feel resentful maybe towards your partner if, you know, maybe they're not giving you the support that you're looking for through your journey. I remember sometimes feeling like, well, should we even become parents if you and I are having this fight right now over this? Just feeling like your relationship had to be held to like this high standard because everyone in your life knows that, well, they're trying for a baby, or they're hoping to become parents, or they're on the adoption list or whatever, and just feeling like all these eyes on you all the time, that, you know, they're assessing everything about you because they know this intimate part about your life. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to go off the cuff here, so I might be spinning in circles. Saying that though, on the other hand, I do think that infertility shaped our marriage in such a profound way, and although there were negative aspects for sure at different like stages of the journey, I do think that overall we have this like deep understanding of each other that is just, it goes beyond being in a relationship. It is a common ground of knowing like the lows, of knowing what it felt like to be in a very deep low, and to trust the other person to hold your head up high when you're in your low, and to do the same for them. And it's this give and take. I don't think that every relationship makes it through infertility in that way. There's so many different aspects. So overall, I do feel like we've gained a lot of perspective together and grown a lot together, and that has provided this sense of strength in our relationship. Do you still feel butterflies? I think I would have to say no. Butterflies is kind of like, it's kind of like chalked up to this like lust mixed with like getting to know each other, mixed with everything being new and fresh. And you know, we're so far into this that there aren't very many new and fresh moments. Butterflies, probably not, but I do have like moments in time where I like am filled up with like a little bit extra love in that moment than maybe just a regular mundane moment. Like for example, yesterday he got home from work and Nova dropped everything she was doing and ran her little booty over to him and gave him this big bear hug. And I could just feel like my whole body like rush with emotion. And it was, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing ever. But it was also like this love for Caleb, seeing him be that person to Nova and provide her that joy. Like it gave me that rush. So I mean, maybe it's just a different variation of butterflies, if that makes sense. I really like this one. How did you make a marriage between two growing people work since you got married so young? I was 19, Caleb was 20. This is at our wedding, our age is at our wedding. We were officially married 6 months before that in my in-laws' living room, and we were both 19 at that moment. So our legal marriage is actually a different date than the day we celebrate, but that's a whole other story. We did make a video, so maybe I'll link it up here if I can remember. But yeah, that's such an important thing to talk about. We were married young. We definitely hadn't figured ourselves out yet, you know, our place in the world, still in school, post-secondary, and just very young. Personally, I had already been through a lot of experiences in my short life that I did feel like I knew myself pretty well. I think Caleb maybe had less like experiences than I did, but when we joined together and we, you know, started learning together, it is a bit of a process. Of course, like we literally learned how to pay bills in our first like month of marriage. We learned how to, you know, make a grocery list and go grocery shopping and cook dinners and figure out finances and understand what it's like to live with another human being and share a bathroom and share a bed, and like all of these things were brand new and they were happening together. And of course, it's crazy. Like it's a big transition, it's a big switch. But it's also really fun. I had never felt just more like in love and comforted and just in our like bubble of life, just learning and growing together. Of course, some people might grow in like a little bit of different directions, and I know that that happens, and that's kind of the risk with being married young. But I can speak from my experience, there's also the aspect that you grow and learn together and you learn how to be individuals, but you also have this commonality, this safe place with your spouse that you kind of have like a home that for me gave me confidence to still explore. I've always been someone who is introverted, and I with anxiety, and I just get nervous with certain things. And so having him as like my cheerleader and as my home base throughout, ever since I was 19, has always been detrimental for me, because I had a person to call when I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I had a person to call when I was out on my own and something would be stressful for me, or something would be hard for me, and I just needed someone to talk to, or someone that I could trust and to help encourage me. And so I always had him, and that for me, that was very, very helpful and amazing. Staying connected as a couple when you're balancing things like parenthood, work, if you have schooling attached to that, like all of those things, and just life, the day-to-day. We make this space to spend time together doing whatever we do. You know, grocery trips are usually done together, errands are usually done together, things like that. And it's not always, of course, sometimes it's just easier to send one person out or whatever it is, but we've always kind of just done it together. And even though they're mundane things and they're not necessarily fun things, we like to sometimes make it fun, like turning a trip to IKEA into a date night where you go to the cafeteria and you get some food and you go and you daydream about the places, but then you also pick up the little things that you need. Another thing that's important that I'm learning more and more as the years have gone on is that in order to stay connected, you also need to spend time apart and to give room in the relationship to have other relationships with other people, friendships, to do hobbies, to do things that you like, so that you can come back and you are fulfilled in other ways and you're not always requiring each other to fulfill your needs, if that makes sense. And that's something that I personally have a hard time with. I'm a bit needy. I'll be honest, I'm a bit needy sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want you to go golfing right now. I want you to be here. But I remember that that's something he enjoys to do, and that he'll come home feeling like fulfilled in that way because he got to do that. And same with me, I get the chance to go on play dates and see other moms and do things like that, and then we can come back together and, you know, have new things to talk about. How was your day? Well, because we weren't together the whole time, we actually can talk about our day. Sorry for all the hand gestures. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so the garbage truck just arrived, and I think that that's a perfect cue to end this video so you're not hearing all that noise in the background, and I feel like I covered a few topics. Thank you for getting real with me and being honest and sending in some of these raw topics. I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable with any of it. But yeah, that's just my kind of honest point of view as someone who's been married for 7 years now and been through some trials, definitely been through some trials. Our marriage, like I said, is not perfect. We've had big fights, we've had little fights, we've had arguments, we've had, you know, he slept on the couch before, I've slammed the door before. Like, these things have happened for us, but we have also grown together, built a life together, and truly do love each other. And I think something that's really important to kind of end this off is to remember not to compare your specific relationship with someone else's, because you don't know everything about it and you don't know what goes on all the time. And you know, with Instagram and with social media, it's so easy to just see these cutesy pictures and think, oh my gosh, I wish that we were like that, but you don't know. And I promise you that nobody, no matter how perfect the picture looks, is perfect. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed, and make sure to hit the subscribe button if you would like to follow along and watch more videos like this, because I just want to make a space that is just honest, because there's too much bleh in the world. Okay, bye guys. Thanks for watching.